All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our WCW pay-per-view review series. This is going to be WCW WrestleWar 92. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. This one, to me, was very underrated.
Oh, yeah.
This guy lost in the shuffle, mainly because maybe of the time that this came out. War Games was not really placed on a pay-per-view. It was sporadic. Whenever
Hmm.
they had a huge rivalry, they would finally
Yeah.
just end it in this kind of like how they used to do it with Hell in a Cell before they came off with
Hmm.
that god awful pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Uh, So yeah, I mean, I would rather it just
yeah.
culminate a feud and
Because it
just have that
loses,
at a pay per view.
'cause it loses its luster, its meaning when it's just
Exactly,
like,
because then you know at least if you have a Hell in a Cell pay per view, you know you're going to get three matches are going to be in that cell, and it's just like
right. I
it,
agree.
it waters down the whole night.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but on this night, War Games would commence between the Dangerous Alliance and Sting Squadron. So here we go. Let's go ahead and kick it off. Yeah, Jim Ross and Jesse Ventura doing the commentating. Tony Schiavone and Eric Bischoff were hosting the event. They were down in Jacksonville, Florida. Capacity is 6,000 there. It's still 5,000 more than
Mhm.
AEW can draw.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But let's go ahead and kick it off. The U.S. Tag Team titles was the opening match. It was the Tailor Made Man, Terry
What?
Taylor, and Greg the Hammer Valentine
Boxcar.
defending the tag title. Boxcar, Greg the Hammer Valentine taking on the fabulous Freebirds. Now, I don't know about you, but I was falling asleep during this match.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Valentine is way, way over his prime at
He
this
kind of
point.
passed it, yeah.
The fact that he's wearing a title, trying to make him still relevant, I get it, but it's just not working.
I forget that Sometimes I forget that he wasn't even in WCW.
Yeah,
You know,
for I believe this was his second
was it?
stint. Yeah, he
Okay.
in the early '80s in
Well,
NWA.
that
He
I
was
knew,
in that,
NWA. That I know. I'm talking about like,
but this time
yeah,
around,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know. And of course, you're going up against the Fabulous Freebirds, which they are the number one tag team right now, other than the Steiner brothers. And I mean, you're just not going to touch them. This is why I believe they had the dual tag championships because
Oh, they're the
you
U.S. I like
you had
that,
the
believe it or not. The U.S. Tag Champions.
I did too. I also like the
Mhm.
6 man tag, and it's a shame that only in AEW can you watch that title thing. It's a shame that WWE never ever brought
Never, yeah.
that concept in. But you have the two tag titles mainly because you have the Freebirds and you have the Steiners.
Mhm.
Both teams need a title. You
Yeah,
just
yeah.
can't have one of them without the other. And in this event, I mean, it didn't disappoint. The Freebirds did not disappoint. Garvin with the DDT on Taylor, they get the pin.
Let's see,
They
yeah.
get the U.S. tag titles. Now, unfortunately, at this point, the Freebirds are on their decline a little bit.
Yeah, they've been around for
It's
a while.
starting to route up. Yeah. So, but it's good to see one more reign on Michael Hayes and
Mhm.
Jimmy Jam Garvin. Following that, we've got Johnny B. Bad versus Tracy Smothers. Yeah, we could have did without this
And
one.
nobody cared.
Nobody cared. It was a 7 minute match. I
Right.
mean, Bad did his thing. Smothers to me, I mean, he's one half of the Southern Boys and all the stuff, all the stuff. Bad did a nice sunset flip pin off the top rope, which I was always impressed with that he did that,
Yeah, no.
but he didn't get the pin on it. Excuse me. Bad then with just a left hook knocks him out and gets the pin, so
So
he
see
beats
ya.
Tracy Smothers.
Yeah, there was a few finishers with just punches, right? There were a few finishing maneuvers that were
Yeah,
just
Bad actually probably thought this was a boxing match because he went to that more than wrestling in this. And Ventura was going crazy. Well, it was a closed fist. Well, you may be right, Jesse. Following
Marvelous,
that, Missy
marvelous
Hyatt.
Mark Merrill. Marvelous Mark
Exact.
Merrill.
Oh God, no, let's not, please. I also forgot real quick that he went back to WCW
Well,
after
yeah,
he left WWE
I
before
tagged
only
you.
one event. Yeah,
I
he
tagged you in
did.
that
I
post.
good.
Yeah,
I forgot all
I
about
forgot. It
that.
was only one. It was one appearance, I think.
And nobody was watching
Yeah,
WCW at the
at
time.
that point, it was over.
Missy Hyatt interviewed the new U.S. Tag Champs, the Fabulous Freebirds. And following that match, their next one on the card was actually pretty good. It was Marcus Alexander Bagwell versus Scotty Flamingo, aka Johnny Polo, aka
Yeah,
Raven.
it's weird seeing him like this,
It
right?
is. It is every time, and I tell myself I know who it is, but it's just
Right.
weird seeing
Yeah, it's
him as
polar opposite of Raven, just like polar opposite.
yes. So, I didn't. I never cared for the whole Johnny Polo shtick. I thought that was garbage. But the Scotty Flamingo, and you see Raven later on, it's like, wow.
Really
I mean,
different.
this guy knew how to create
Yeah.
his character and adapt. And of course, Scotty Flamingo is trying to get in line for the light heavyweight title that currently is held by Flying Brian Pillman. This match was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. Bagwell rolled up Flamingo, but he had it reversed. He reversed it on Bagwell, held the tights, and got the pin. Flamingo gets the victory. That's all right. Bagwell will have plenty more matches. This guy stuck it out in WCW from beginning to end. I mean, it was just amazing. Next match, following that, excuse me, they showed Super Brawl 2. Abdullah the Butcher attacking Ron Simmons, helping Cactus Jack. Oh, Lord. If they weren't attacking each other, they were helping
They
each
were,
other. And JYD just came out of the stands to help him out. So our next match is supposed to be Ron Simmons and Junkyard Dog versus Cactus Jack and Mr. Hughes.
It was supposed to be one-on-one matches, I think, too. I think initially.
It turned
into a tag team match, I think.
Yeah, and then we don't even get that.
No.
Because as JYD was coming down, Cactus attacked JYD, and he took him out. JYD now can't compete, so you got Mr. Hughes and Cactus Jack in the ring, and it wound up just being now Ron Simmons versus Mr.
Pretty much,
Hughes.
yeah.
I would have preferred Ron Simmons and Cactus Jack, but we're gonna get Mr. Hughes anyway. And Simmons, he comes back to the ring after helping JYD out, and the match, now began. Pretty good match for Simmons. I was never a Mr. Hughes fan. The whole suit, tie, glasses thing throws me off. Simmons hits the 3-point stance on Hughes, gets the victory, but that war is far from over between Simmons and Cactus Jack. But it would have been good to see a tag match, but for whatever reason, they changed it. I tried to look it up, I couldn't find it. If anybody knows, any that knew WCW back then, anything that knew any information about it, go ahead and comment on the video. Our next match on the card was Todd Champion versus Super Invader or Hercules.
Hercules. Yeah.
And Hercules really grew his hair out at this point. You can see it under the mask. I would have just rather him go back as Hercules. I mean, this is your last run. I mean, Super Invader was so cheesy.
I think he owned it. I think he owned the name though, because he was Hercules Hernandez before.
Exactly.
Before WWE.
But his last run here didn't run. You notice a lot of guys came over at this point that their runs did not last. Valentine, Hercules, Jake, all coming off the '92 roster in WWE, just did not last too long in WCW for whatever reason. We'll get to Jake's another time. They were trying to pump Todd Champion up on the mic, saying, "Oh, this guy, he's a tag competitor, but he could be a great singles competitor. He could be a champion, no pun intended to his name." Yeah, not on this night. Super Invader with a power bomb and gets the pin. Goodbye. Todd Champion is no champion.
I'm tired of that.
Next match on the card, and this is what was taken away from the night. You're waiting for the main event, but you're getting all these ham and egger matches here that are just like, you got to be kidding me. There's nobody else back there that can fight. We've got Richard Morton and Big Josh, or Doink.
Yeah, Doink. Yeah.
I mean, this match I tried to get behind because of Big Josh. I thought maybe at some point they could do something with him with his size and strength. They never did. Ricky Morton is not a singles competitor. He's always going to be known as one half of the Rock'n'Roll Express, despite the fact that they split them up at that point when they did the whole ridiculous thing with the foundation. I mean, it didn't make any sense. Big Josh hits Northern Exposure on Richard Morton, which is the earthquake drop on Morton, and gets the pin. Big Josh gets the victory. 7.5-minute match, 6 minutes longer than it really needed to be. Following that, they showed on WCW Saturday Night Tom Zink being interviewed by Jim Ross. Zink was upset with Scotty Flamingo and said he would put the title on the line whenever he faced Flamingo. That caught the eye of Brian Pillman, who came out and said, "Oh, which title are you defending? My title? You're jumping the gun here. It's like you're looking past me to the next guy. You haven't even gotten my belt off me yet."
They were friends.
Yes, they were. but the animosity was building for this match,
Mhm.
which made it even better. Pillman, he feels his friend Zink is, like I said, is looking past him, which totally got him going.
Babyface versus
Ridiculous.
babyface, right? I think they were both.
Yeah, they were. This was around the time also that Brian Pillman with the light heavyweight title kind of eventually turned heel.
Mhm.
And then, of course, 1993, we know what we did. They did with him with the Hollywood Blondes. So our next match for the light heavyweight title is Flying Brian Pillman versus the Z-Man Tom Zink. This match didn't disappoint. Actually, this was
That was fun.
the second favorite match on the card next to the main event. These guys let it all out there. The high flying maneuvers were very impressive. That damn WWE for not doing anything with Tom Zink when they had him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they put that rule in shortly after this about the no top rope.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Yeah,
It's
right after this.
Everybody has heard my thing on that. I just thought that was complete garbage. Now Pillman off the top rope, Z-Man with a big boot, which was pretty impressive, but he couldn't get the pin on Pillman, no matter how many times he tried. Zink missed the drop kick off the top rope, and Pillman rolled him up for the pin. Looked like he grabbed the tights a little bit. It's hard to tell, but Pillman keeps the belt and eventually has a date coming up against Flamingo in the future. Our next match was for the number one contendership for the IWGP Tag Team titles from New Japan. It was Takayuki Iizuka and Tatsumi Fujiyami versus the Steiner Brothers. This is what I was talking about when they bring in the multiple tag titles, because when you got the Freebirds and you got the Steiners, you got to have both have to be on top. Similar thing here, and you're gonna laugh at one time when it was the New Day and the Usos. You have two teams like that; they both need to be champions. I wish they did that in WWE when they had the plethora of tag teams. You had Heart Foundation, you had Demolition, you had Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
All of them deserve to be on
That's
top,
true,
but you only had one strap to put on them, unfortunately. So, and this match was actually pretty good. I thought it was going to be bad, but it wasn't.
Scott botches a move here. That move where he takes the guy, I forget what it's called, and he flips back.
Oh, the belly to belly over his shoulder.
He spiked him. He spiked himself. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to watch out when he does those type of suplexes, man. It's especially when it got later on when he was Big Papa Pump, he would botch that a lot. And I think they finally told him, hey, you gotta don't do that move anymore. He didn't listen. Rick Steiner with a belly to belly suplex off the second rope is what got the pin. No Frankensteiner, no Steiner recliner, no nothing. They just had to use a simple move against these guys because anything the Steiners used, these two guys countered them. And so this was an underrated match, but the Steiner brothers are the number one contenders for the IWGP Tag Team Championship. Now on to our main event, the War Games Steel Cage match. It's a submit or surrender only. No pinfalls. And I love how the cage was so low, they were hitting their heads on it. I mean, this is ridiculous. They needed to elevate that a little bit more.
This is when Rude had his issues with Steamboat, and he was I think he accused the Steamboat of stalking Medusa.
Oh my God.
And they're saying that he's having different affairs or something. They're accusing Steamboat of whatever, being a womanizer.
Yep, and this would relate it to their feud. And remember, Jim Ross had said this night that the following week they would have the entire Beach Blast match card for everybody.
Right, because Rude is the U.S. champion.
Yep. I love how they're talking about the whole card for Beach Blast, but man, dude, we got WrestleWar right now. We don't need to know about a month from now. Don't
like Tuesday in Texas. It's like this Tuesday in Texas.
Why? They're going to say it 35 times?
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
This Tuesday in Texas. At least come up with a better name, too. I mean, the more you say it, the more it's laughable. And anytime I heard Jake Roberts say it, I just laughed. This Tuesday in Texas.
Yeah. Just so you know exactly when it is. Anyway.
Why? It wasn't Wednesday? I wonder why I missed it. All right. We've got Sting, Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and Nikita Koloff, of all people, returning. Sting's squadron to face the Dangerous Alliance. And please, this upcoming thing that Heyman's got going in WWE, please, the Dangerous Alliance. I am looking for that name, not that trifection of terror crap that I've been hearing on the internet. I want the Dangerous Alliance back.
But if they put new in front of it, then
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't
it's
do
gonna be
that.
cursed.
Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah,
Don't do Dangerous Alliance 2000 either.
yeah.
No, we just need it to be called that and get some more guys in there. But you had Steve Austin, Ravishing Rick Rude, Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, and Larry Zbyszko.
The
I
living
mean,
legend.
you couldn't ask for a better five right here. I mean, this was awesome. This had me watching WCW in 1992, The Dangerous
It's
Alliance. It was
unfortunate
amazing.
it's that they weren't together too long.
I know. That's what it really bothered me. And it started tonight, you could tell after the match
Yeah.
that the dissension was in the
Yeah.
ranks. Now, starting off the match was Barry Windham and Stunning Steve Austin. After the 5 minute interval, they would have the coin toss to see who would have the advantage, and then every 2 minutes thereafter, the next person comes in. I love this concept. I love this match. I'm so glad WWE does it now. I'm glad it's in the new video game. It's just amazing. It's awesome, this match.
And this is probably considered the best War Games match of all time.
Yes, it is. I did read that, and Meltzer gave it a thumbs up. Like, we need his credibility for this.
Right.
So Dangerous Alliance won the coin toss here. That's don't worry, that's not saying anything. Rick Rude was the next to go in after that. And I love how Heyman had this mapped down to a science as far as, okay, they put them in, now I know who I'm gonna go with
Right,
next.
he's like almost having
They're all on the
timeout.
phone.
Yeah.
They're all on the phone. Who are they talking to on the phone? I don't know.
When Medusa goes up there and she drops the phone.
Loved it. Now, following that, Ricky Steamboat now goes in. He goes to town on Ravishing Rick Rude. Arn Anderson was to follow next for the Dangerous Alliance. Then we had the natural Dustin Rhodes, Larry Zbyszko. Sting goes in. I thought he would have been last. Bobby Eaton, and then finally Nikita Koloff, which there was some Sting was kind of looking at Nikita like,
right. Can you trust him? Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Are you sure you're on our side? And he brings him closer. He goes, yes.
Yeah.
And you think otherwise when Nikita is the last one to show up, like when it's time for him to go in, is he going to bail? But he didn't. Now during the match, after Larry Zbyszko came in, is when Medusa climbs the cage and drops down the cell phone to Arn Anderson, who hit Rhodes with it and knocked him out. By the way, the blood mess in this was just amazing. Just they really went to war. No pun intended. Sting then climbs up, but Medusa climbed down, so he couldn't get to her, unfortunately. The crowd was going insane for this match. This was the hottest I ever heard them do this entire night. Turnbuckle broke and the rope collapsed. You gotta love that. You got a perfect match going, and then this shit happens.
He used it as a weapon, though.
They did. They're also trying to fix it too. I'm like, what are you guys doing? What are you, ring crew? What are we doing? Now, with that, Zbyszko accidentally hits Eaton with the metal from the broken turnbuckle. Sting applied just a casual armbar because Eaton was hitting the shoulder. And Eaton, he submits. Sting Squadron wins the match.
Yeah,
But this is where I talked about the animosity afterwards. Dangerously was yelling at Zbyszko. Then Arn and Anderson and Rick Rude get into his face, are yelling at him. Eaton's yelling at him from the floor. Then Austin gets involved. I was waiting for punches to be thrown here, but nothing like that transpired.
He gets thrown out like not too long after this.
Yes.
He gets tossed out.
Well, his career, is really winding down at this point. This guy took on San Martino in the 70s in WWE. His career is coming to an end. But, like I said, Sting Squadron gets the victory. This was an awesome match. Like you said, best War Games match ever.
Oh, yeah. The pay-per-view was but the match
this saved it.
The main event saved it, yeah. Absolutely.
Everybody that purchased this pay-per-view knew that they had to wait for the main event. So the torture for 2 hours before you got to this.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.